We're in Schweinfurt, Germany. Looks like there was a medical emergency on that ship. And it's a fairly big city, I would say, from the looks of it. Yeah, it is too pretty.
Bus driver, guten Morgen, Jabba, good morning. Then, in the rear of the bus, we have my colleague Katrin sitting there. She is going to be the guide for Group A, the awesome A group. My name is Dorothea, Dorothy in the English version. I will be the guide for the charming Group C. All the other guides, you will get to know them as soon as we get off the bus. As we're on the bus now, please fasten your seat belts. That's a law in Germany. And in case you want to regulate the air conditioning, you do that by twisting the outer ring above your heads. Now, you've arrived in Würzburg, in the city this morning, and we are presenting the city Würzburg to you today. And this is one of the old cities in Germany. When you look over to the right-hand side, please remember what this looks like, because that's your point of reference for later on. Why, I'll explain in a short while. And I'm pretty sure that from your docking place you noticed a castle on the hill. Did you? That fortress, that was the seat of the rulers from the very beginning. First it was a smaller one. And this city, one of the oldest in Germany, more than 1,300 years old, was ruled by bishops from the very beginning, and that had a decisive influence on the development of the city. Therefore, we have an enormous amount of churches here. We have 60 churches, 45 of them Catholic, and that's quite a lot for the amount of inhabitants, 130,000. Where you are docked at, the 3 steel chimneys you can remember, that's not one of the many churches. I'm very often ironically asked, it's a heating plant. And if you think, it doesn't look so pretty in the city center, I always say you should have seen the predecessor of the building. But the area you see from your docking place can be used for concerts. Also, we admired, have a quick look to the right. You, I'm sure, noticed that also from your docking place you see the biggest vineyard of Germany. 90 hectares, 220 acres. German sites are smaller than in many other countries. So you are docked in a perfect position there. This is a city of wine. And as Jabba turns left in a moment, we will drive along the city on that side. That's the oldest part, the oldest district of the city, where fishermen and boatmen used to settle at the foot of the mountain. Depending on your position on the bus, for the moment you might not be able to see the castle properly, but you notice it from the docking place, and in a little while when we go a few turns, we are going to see it from a better position. What you also noticed while we are testing our patients, waiting at the red traffic light here, you might have seen that over to the right, and also from your docking place there are some tents on the other side of the river. They are preparing a festival. This is a city where there's a lot going on. So on the other side of the river from your docking place, they are preparing a festival. This is a city of 130,000 inhabitants, 30,000 university students, so there's a lot going on always. And also when we turn left over to the right-hand side, that's where they are preparing a fair, where you will have carousels, roller coasters and all this in a few weeks. And this is what the teenagers and children get all excited about, of course. They will have an imitation of the Oktoberfest there even, although this is not the typical area for Dirndl and Lederhosen, but we try to celebrate that as well here. It's going to be in July, but that doesn't matter because the Oktoberfest isn't logical anywhere, because it starts in September. So you can just as well do it in July. Just one tiny little personal piece of information in this building here on the left-hand side. That's where I had my karate lesson yesterday. And And then let us go back to culture and history. Over to the left-hand side, you can see the skyline of our many church steeples, the church spires, let alone 17 in the heart of the city. And as we continue driving, in a moment we'll come to one of the famous landmarks of Würzburg, an old bridge. And lucky you, we will end on the other side of the river at that old bridge round about 12:15ish. And by the way, I haven't mentioned it, but I'll get to the schedule of our today's excursion in a little while before we arrive at our destination. But now, be prepared in a moment. Java is going to turn down as good as possible to see a 900-year-old bridge decorated with 11 saints and a king forming a guard of honor to the users of the bridge. It resembles the Charles Bridge in Prague very much. Ours is older, much shorter, and these days it's a very popular place to have a glass of wine on the bridge. So that is also your chance to mix and mingle with the locals and other tourists, enjoying a good glass of wine on the bridge or somewhere else. So be prepared to look over to the left-hand side, see the old bridge, and this is what you can look forward to at the end of the walking tour. In the distance, the cathedral we'll walk past also during our walking tour. And this is a city which is not one of the biggest cities of Germany. We ironically call it a small big city, eine kleine Großstadt concerning the size. We cannot compare to Hamburg, Berlin, Munich, but it's also not a small city. It's a little bit bigger than the city you visited yesterday, Bamberg. Over to the right-hand side, in a moment behind the scaffolding, there's a former prison coming into view. Nowadays, much better function. It's house of the youth. So pottery, concerts, gatherings, cooking events, and so on. And we passed under a bastion, part of the former fortifications. Nowadays, a primary school on top of that. But at the moment, it's holidays, so no pupils there, even during the weekdays. In a moment we are going to cross a bridge which is only 140 years old, the Lions Bridge, decorated with 4 brass lions, and these lions are a symbol of the state. Würzburg is located in Bavaria. Rumor has it that these lions always used to roar in former times whenever a virgin came across. Looking to the left, you can see the bridge. In the background, the 3 steel chimneys, your point of reference, and the vineyard you see from your docking place. And that vineyard, by the way, is facing south directly, so ideal for cultivating wine. And the wine coming from that vineyard was loved over the centuries by many famous people, including the most famous German writer and poet, Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. They say he ordered around about 900 liters a year from that vineyard, 3 bottles a day. That was quite a lot even for those days. That's why he was once asked how he managed to drink such a lot of wine, and he said, well, others take their inebriation to bed, I write mine down. So he drank it purely for inspirational reasons, of course. The other person who loved the wine enormously was a short woman from the United Kingdom who had a fancy for a certain breed of dogs. Queen Elizabeth. She had bottles from that vineyard for her coronation ceremony. and also later on in life she ordered the occasional one. As soon as Jabba turns right now, please have a look up to the left. Some of you, I hope you can mostly see it, see a church up on a hill. Not everybody can see it properly, so you then look forward to the bridge. From there everybody will get a good view of that. So that is the so-called Kapelle, which is a Franconian vernacular for a little church. It's a proper Catholic church. Looks a little bit like a Russian fairy castle, but it's a proper Catholic church done by the same architect who built the palace we are going to visit with you in a short while. And as we continue driving now over to the left, up on the hill, that's where you see the Fortress Marienberg, which means Mary's Mountain. We should not get attached to the castle on the hill because Katrin and I and all the other guides, we will show you something better than that. Now, the excursion this morning consists of two parts. First part is a palace visit, second part a walk through the city center. The walk through the city center ends at the old bridge. As soon as Jabba turns right in a moment, you can have a look out to the left and see the old mine bridge. That's where we will end the walking tour in at round about 12:15ish, and then we'll explain precisely how you walk to your docking place from that position. And for the walking tour, I can promise you two things. First of all, Katrin, I, and all the other guides, we don't walk as fast as we talk, and we are not going to drag you through all the 60 churches. I'm pretty sure you'd visit the bars and wine taverns voluntarily with us. First of all, though, we concentrate on the palace visit. That palace is mostly original. To preserve it for future generations, we have certain house rules we have to respect there. First of all big bags go into a locker. Only tiny little handbags are allowed. If you want to get tempted in the bookshop, just take some money with you. Water bottles have to be locked away as well. If you just have a water bottle with you, nothing to put it into, I, for example, have a marker with me. You could put your room number on the water bottle. Taking pictures is allowed, but there's a but with 3 capital letters. No selfie sticks, no flash, and now comes the hardest part. No pictures during the tour. But we'll give you free time for that, and during that time you can take as many pictures as you want. We'll give you free time for interior rooms, for the bookshop, for the chapel, for the gardens, and also before you exit the building for something we would diplomatically call powdering your noses. And when we get off the bus, we are going to demingle all the guests on the buses into the different groups, A, B, C, D, E, F, channels according to the alphabet. A is 11, B is 12, C is 13, and so forth. Hand over the tickets to the guides, and please take out everything. We're going to get organized inside. And there we are. Ladies can faint now. Katrin brought some smelling salts. The most beautiful parking lot in Würzburg. If you see Katrin and me disappearing in inverted commas to the middle of the square, that's not because we want to run away from you. We just want to get into a strategic position to be seen by everybody.
There it is, yeah.
And I know this was a lot of information. You will get an update as we go along. Let us thank Jabba for driving us. Take out everything
Now I'll let you have fun even without tickets. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Be very welcome. My name is Tia.
You were an F.
Your guide for today. Thank you very much, my noble guests. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. 16, ma'am. 16. 16. Please be very welcome. Channel 16 here in the group F. The fabulous group. The fantastic ones. Channel 16. Thank you very much, ma'am.
We are. Yeah, we are.
Please, I just need the tickets. Tiago with a T. I will be your guide for today. It's a pleasure to receive you here in my city. Have you had a good journey so far? Are you enjoying?
Yes.
Yes? Where you started? In Budapest, is that right?
Budapest.
Maybe some of you Bucharest. Yeah? Oh no, not today, not this time.
No.
Okay, so how was the weather? Everything nice?
Yeah.
Let's make it better today. The sun is shining, the sky is blue. We are going to have a really good experience. Today we have in the menu one of the best palaces existing, not just in Germany, but in the world. This palace is so incredible that Napoleon Bonaparte classified it as the palace above all the other palaces. Just come a little bit along with me, just that we separate a little bit here from the other groups, that we untangle this situation here. My noble ladies and gentlemen, here behind me, before the palace, we have a statue of a lady. This lady that receives us in the door, she has a crown in the top of her head. She has a flag that she holds to the side. Who might be this lady? We are a town of bishops, bishops from the Catholic Church. They should not be able to have a queen, but she looks like a queen. Who can be this woman? Our queen here, it's called Lady Franconia, and she can be a queen of a bishop because she is no more no less than the Virgin Mary. And the Virgin Mary was occupying the throne as the lady that rules these lands. And the bishops always gave her the honors like that. My noble guest, she is blessing other statues in the bottom of the fountain. 3 men, we just see 2, but is another one to the back. The 3 of them, they are local artists, very important local artists that had national projection, or sometimes even international projection. They lived in very diverse centuries, from the 1100s until the 1700s, but the most important of the 3 gentlemen needs to be the one here slightly to the right, working on the statue over a bench. That man there, it's called Thielmann Riemenschneider. Thielmann Riemenschneider. It's considered to be one of the best sculptures ever in the country of Germany. So good that many people compared him to Michelangelo. My noble guests, just please, let's go a little bit more to the front. I want to give you some practical information. You can see that all the groups are heading to the door there in the middle. There is where we are going to enter, but very important for you to know that we are not going to exit through that same door. We are going to exit right here through these large columns where you see their door, and our meeting will also be right here in the front of these 2 large columns at 11:35. 11:35. Please don't forget that. 11:35 we meet here. And today it's a very hot day. Sometimes in the palace also gets that hot because large windows, no AC. Back in the day they didn't have that kind of technology. And I would say, when we finish our tour, that is the most special part of the palace, take just a quick look to other rooms that we have there, and then I would say that your time will be much better if you just go to the gardens. It has shade to sit, you have beautiful flowers to look around. The gardens of our palace are one of the most spectacular features that this house has to offer. So just take that in consideration. And the door for the garden is that big gate between the 2 buildings. 11:35, we meet here to go on the city tour or to go back to the ship. Whatever makes you more happy, I will be here to support. For today, I just want you to feel as my true noble guests. Noble guests, we are just getting into the door of our palace. And let me tell you a little bit more about this house. Started to build in 1720, all the way up to 1780. This house, 60 years for the construction, 60 years that we could divide in two major sections. The first, 1720 to 1744, was foundations, walls, roofs, windows, all of the complicated part, the heavy duty. And then, after the heavy duty was finished, the decoration of the palace could be made. And the decoration of our palace took just 36 years to be completed. Men sometimes are complicated, and especially our bishops. They wanted the best of the best that the world could offer, and that costs a lot of money, so money needs to be kind of raised first, and that also was demanding that the people come from very far away. I'm talking about Italians, Austrians, English, French. This palace was made by the European creme of the artists of the 1700s. My noble ladies and gentlemen, I said in my buzz, and you might have heard in other buzzes, that it's forbidden to take pictures inside of the palace during the guided tour. I am no German myself. I was born and raised in Portugal. And with your agreement, you can take pictures. But then if the palace staff comes and complains with me, I will just say what I say always. Hey, I told them, but you know how it is, the tourists never hear anything. And like this makes your life easier, you know? You will not get any trouble, and then you also save me, you know? And so you make as you think is best. For me, will not annoy me, and I will not say to anyone, please ma'am, don't take pictures. Sir, please, otherwise our tour is also annoying. And I just want to ask you, like with touching on the statues or in the walls, this is forbidden. The walls are standing for 300 years. They really don't need support from your hands. But this is just common sense. My noble guests, as we are approaching to the door, you know that we have a very strong rule that is about locking up our belongings. And this includes backpacks of any size, or also bottles of water. Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, like here, your sack that you have on the shoulder needs to be closed, but your bag not, ma'am, so like your purse. Yours as well, ma'am, a little bit too big. Otherwise they will come to you with the measure tape and say, oh, this is 3 centimeters too big, and then they force you to go there. For me, it would not be a problem. But yours as well, ma'am. So, yeah, yours is okay, ma'am. Yours in the back, I would say better, ma'am. Better. Otherwise, sometimes it might be that they don't say anything because they are too busy, but sometimes they also might say. So, my noble guests, this palace does. You already know the time of construction. Take a look at the details of how each and every stone was worked with by a stone mason. Incredible details that are engraved in our stones. This is a heritage of what we call Baroque. The Baroque time starts. Just please come a little bit further already. The Baroque period starts with the construction of the Palace of Versailles, and it finishes when Napoleon Bonaparte invades Europe, and the time was no longer of spending immense amount of money. This palace, talking about money, costed on the time 1.5 million gold coins. This is how much this house had costed back on the time. 1.5 million gold coins sounds a lot of money today, huh? But what if I would tell you that would not be much more than $50 million? With $50 million, you could not even buy the grounds where the palace is placed at the moment. Actually, we have a team of experts that they calculated all the expenses and how much would be to make a new palace today, if this palace would need to be reconstructed. And the numbers are crazy. Just please keep coming with me. The numbers to build this palace all over from the ground would have been today between $7 and $9 billion. My noble guests, our palace was extremely destroyed during the Second World War. The palace was later reconstructed, but we still have some scars. Here you see bullet shots made by American machine guns. The palace was not destroyed by the Americans, was rather destroyed by the British in the 16th of March 1945. These bullet shots, they are from the 20th of April 1945, when the Americans ended the war for the Würzburg. Please, my noble guests, I cannot hold the door. Just come ahead with me. Please, stop before the steps, ma'am. Here to this little corridor. Just stop before the steps. I'm coming to you in a second. Just please stop before the steps. Just wait for me a second. Sharon, would you walk on the house? So it's here in the back, please. Yes, Sharon.
Box 6.
Box number 6. Don't forget. Please come here. Come here to this other. We have a little bit of traffic, man. So it's good thing here. So, my noble guests, before we continue any further, please don't cross this line where I'm standing at the moment. I just need to ask who would like to take an elevator ride rather than the staircase. Elevator ride, one lady here. So, give me 1 minute, don't leave from here, I'm coming to you. This military exercise, it's not me, but the rules are the rules, and we are in Germany. We are at the moment climbing the second largest staircase inside of any palace in the world. This staircase, actually, it used to be the largest one for quite a while, until a woman called Catherine the Great built the Hermitage staircase in St. Petersburg, Russia. This staircase, it was one of the main features of our palace. To this side, please. Here, with me. This staircase, it was one of the main features that amazed the world of the time. Our architect breaks the rules known for the time and makes this grandiose staircase that was meant to impress. The same steps as you. Names like Maria Theresa, the Empress of Austria, twice. She was here in this palace. We also have other names like Adolf Hitler, Napoleon Bonaparte, or even other names like Queen Elizabeth II, and today, my nobility. You, my lords and ladies, we just need to wait a second for my ladies to come from the elevator ride, and one gentleman as well. Better than in the times of the bishops. The second time that Maria Teresa visited us, she was pregnant on the time. And we know that she took 45 minutes to climb the stairs. And we know that for her climb of the stairs, she needed to drink 1 full bottle of wine to help. Here, take a look to our sky. Take a look to this beauty that lays above our heads. This is the master creation of Giovanni Battista Tiepolo. Giovanni Battista Tiepolo, it's a man that was born in Venice. He was coming from a very humble family from Venice. He was destined to not ever achieve any great things because his father dies when he was 6 years old. The mom gets herself with 6 kids and not a big money to raise them. And the only thing that the mom manages is to send Tiepolo to the art school. She thought, yeah, okay, he might make it out by making portraits in the streets of Venice to the tourists of the time. But Tiepolo wanted more, and at the age of 14, he's dismissed from the art school because he was better than his teacher, and he was known already to be ready for great things. He starts to paint for the royalty in Venice. He goes to Milan and makes great achievements, and the bishops hear about his name and want him to come. 3 times they asked Tiepolo to come, and the answer of Tiepolo was always no, no, no. But he eventually came, because you all know that money talks. And the money talked very big on the time. Tiepolo demanded 100 times the price of a good painter. And he got even more than that. 12,000 gold coins was the contract, that by the way would be today round about $2.5 million. He was paid like a rock star in the 1700s. And in the end, he actually got an extra bonus of 3,000 gold coins. That would be roughly about $700,000 as an extra for the quality of his job. I don't guess, just push a little bit more to the front. If you need, you can touch the balustrade or even touch the walls, no problem. Just the statues, I will ask you to not do it. My noble guests, here in this fantastic vaulted ceiling, we are under the largest creation ever. This vaulted ceiling has 694 square meters, or better saying 7,400 square feet. The name is the sun rising above your heads, above the world that is made surrounding us. I want to ask here to my group, any Australians here? Australians? No? Okay, no Australians. Okay, no problem. I was just asking that because the Australians are missing in our world here. The world of the 1700s, it was made of 4 different continents. America, right here behind me, Africa, across the room and above our heads, Asia, and today we have Europe. Why was Australia not a part of the world in the 1700s? Because Captain James Cook just discovered Australia in 1780, and Giovanni Battista Tiepolo, our artist, was already dead for 7 years. So he dies even without knowing that Australia ever was part of this world. My noble guests, we start with a new world, with the Americas, where I'm pretty sure that everybody here is from. Either from Canada, United States of America, or from another country there. The Americas here in our fresco ceiling are represented by the Indian woman, naked, riding the back of a ferocious alligator. Look at her, stiff, ready to the battle, pointing with her finger to a ripped flag. This is a woman that knows the battlefield, that knows the stress of the moment. And she represents the continent of the Americas as the queen, as the leader. And she has a bow on her shoulder, and she knows how to use the bow. If you look under the mouth of the alligator, you see 3 trophy heads of people, and one of them has an arrow right through the skull. But the American craziness doesn't stop right there. If you look to the corner to your right, you will see there a scene of a barbecue. Someone is grilling on the fire. They are like kind of the Native Americans, and they are grilling. Do you know what they are grilling? The missing body parts of the 3 heads. What we have there is a scene of cannibalism. Do you know what this all represents? An America that was uncivilized, that was brutal, that was very, very crazy. And I want to tell you that this also represents one of the very first cases of fake news around the world. Fake news have been there since we are mankind. Since we got out from our caves, we started to spread fake news to get advantage. Which kind of advantage our bishops were getting with this fake news? They wanted to portray an America that was way less than actually it was on the time. They wanted to portray an America that was in the way for the independence, but should not deserve it. If you remember your own country, I would assume that a lot of you are Americans here, your own country got independence of 4th of July of 1776. And this is exactly what our bishops were very much fearing. Our bishops had great investments in the Americas, and of course with the independence of the Americas, the investments would be gone. And this, of course, could not be. And they started to place rumors. They started to place this kind of fake news that the supporters of the independence would not do it. My noble guests, about this painting above our heads, I can tell you that 5-6 days would not be enough to tell you everything. We have more than 400 stories. Just about the Americas, I know enough to entertain you for 2 hours. And we need to continue our journey. So we jump now to Africa. So just come a little bit to the first view. We are going to look into Africa. Africa is this very beautiful continent right here. Lady Africa, the queen of the Africans, sitting on the back of a camel. Lady Africa, it's not naked like Lady America, but semi-naked, and she is a merchant woman. Africa, it's all about merching. If you go to the very corner of Africa, there to the far corner, to the right, you will find slaves, number 1 asset of Africa, being transaction around the world of the time. If you come here to this corner, above me, here where I'm pointing, you can see the commerce going on at the second. You have a Moroccan merchant with blue and white stripes, with an European gentleman, tall leather hat, very beautiful jacket over his shoulders, and the bag of money, ready to open and pay for the things that he is transactioning. If you look to the middle, above the golden medallion, you can see there are men like with the hats, very funny, like cowboys. They are explorers from Europe, and they are negotiating with some Muslim traders. They are negotiating diamonds that they would be buying for bringing to Europe. My noble guests, Africa. Again, we would have many treasures to talk about, but we will do our journey. For all of your curiosity, I love questions. If I would have the time and opportunity, believe me, would not anything in this world would make me more happy than get you some relaxed chairs that we would not break our necks and stay here for the rest of the day. But I want you to have free time, I want you to enjoy all the parts, and anyone that has extra curiosity, I am here for you. My noble guests, we now look across the room to what we know as Asia. Asia is the woman sitting on the back of a great elephant. The elephant. She represents a more elevated society. This woman is the first of our ladies that is actually fully dressed. If you remember, Lady America, representing a raw, undeveloped society, was naked as an Indian. We went to Africa. She was not fully dressed, but she was already more composed. She already represents a trading world, a little bit more organized. When we get to Asia, she is doing a parade that celebrates the culture of the Asian world. But you might say, here, that elephant where she's sitting, it's not an Asian elephant. As you would be right. The elephant that she's sitting is actually an African elephant. And we have there a very big mistake. Why did Tiepolo painted an African elephant in Asia? Because Tiepolo didn't have something that you do today, internet or the National Geographic. Tiepolo knew about the elephants in Africa, knew about the elephants in Asia, but one thing he didn't know, that they were different. He was very used to see African elephants, because African elephants in the 1750s, when this was painted, would be very common in Europe, in circus, in zoos already, but one thing we didn't know the differences. To the back of the elephant, we have a very important scene, but would be very hard to explain it in less than 10 minutes. It's about the creation of the universe and about Prometheus. To the front of the elephant, the things get a little bit easier. You have there a mountain with crosses on top. This is Mount Golgotha. Mount Golgotha is no more no less than the place where Jesus was crucified. And if you look into the scene, you see a man giving his back to us, a stick on his hand. This is a pilgrim that is walking in the direction of the crucifixion of Jesus to look for his own salvation. And this might be the only true reference to the Catholic Church that we have in the 400 stories that are above our heads. How crazy is that? In the house of a bishop. My noble guest, just push a little bit here more further, because I want to now jump with you to Europe. Europe is this very, very fantastic scenario. Look at the differences. We start in the America, completely raw, completely like uncivilized. We then jump to the commerce civilization. We jump to a society that already celebrates itself, that has hints for religion, has hints for the creation of the universe, talking about science. And then we end up in Europe, where we have everybody dressed properly for the 1700s. We have musicians. We have a woman here to our side, here to the left, painting. Not a portrait of Europe, but rather a map in the terrestrial globe. And in the middle, Our Lady Europe. She is the very first that doesn't sit up on the top of any animal. We had an alligator, we had a camel, we had an elephant, and now Lady Europe sits in the marble throne. Why marble? Marble is one of the strongest and most beautiful stones in the planet. Marble symbolizes eternity, and that is the place that Europe should occupy for the eternity, being the ruler of the world. My noble guest, she doesn't sit on top, but sneaking on her left, you see there a head of a bull. That bull, it's not just a regular bull. That bull right there, it's actually Zeus, the god of the gods of the ancient Greek mythology. What is Zeus doing there instead of in the sky among the gods? Zeus is there because in the ancient Greek mythology, Zeus kidnapped Europe, but now our Europe, she's free. She's no longer dependent on Zeus. She actually has a new interest for her. Take a look to the other side, to the right of Our Lady Europe. You will find three symbols of the Catholic bishop, but no bishop. You will find the hat, the cross, and the stick with a curl in the end that the bishops used to walk. But if you look to the scene, just altar boys holding all of that. If you want to find the bishop, one of 7 different bishops that built this house, you need to look to the sky, to the clouds, to a golden frame. There you will find Karl von Griffenklau. Karl von Griffenklau is being held in the very top by virtue and announced on the side by the trumpets of fame. Virtue and fame are carrying the soul of the bishop through the gates of the Olympus, the house of the gods from the ancient Greek mythology. And seeing the soul of the bishop approaching, in the blue sky you have Hermes, the messenger of the gods. And Hermes is running to the sunrise. Take a look again to the sunrise. The name of our fresco, the sunrise above the world. There you have Apollo, the god that makes the sun to rise and the sun to set. Apollo is there with a little statue in the palm of his hands. Do you remember that each and every continent was ruled by a queen? There, in the palm of the hand of Apollo, we have a statue of Athena. Athena is the queen of the Olympus. Basically, what our bishop is doing, it's while Zeus, the god of the gods of the ancient Greek mythology, is trying to seduce Europe once again, our bishop is one step forward. He's already heading to the god's place to take Athena as his and becoming the god above all the other gods. How little can a man believe about himself? Final guess just before we leave, in the middle of these 2 plaster giants, you have there Giovanni Battista Tiepolo, the painter. Behind him, looking very much like George Washington, is actually his son, Domenico. If you look to the middle, next to a dog, you see our architect, Balthasar Neumann, the creator of this house, and behind the musicians, my absolute favorite artist, Antonio Bossi. And if you want to see what he made to be my favorite, you need to come with me to the next room. Oh, please. Just through here, please. As you enter, you have seats here for pretty much half of you, maybe. So relax a little bit your legs. Just don't close the door. We'll just ask you that you come a little bit here more further.
Look at the chandeliers here.
For the past 30 years. Being a guide is what I studied at the university. It's my dream. I do what I love. I'm one of that persons that is that lucky. And into my guiding career, I have been in 6 different countries. I have guided in several museums, in several palaces. And I can tell you that it's hard to choose my favorite place. But if I would to need to point one, this is my favorite, would be this precise room where we are standing. Surrounding us, we have one of the most beautiful creations by the hands of man. This around us is just plaster. Water mixed with some dust that makes paste that then was carried with the very steady hands, with a spatula, with the knife, then to cut the sharp corners, and with sandpaper after everything was dried. We have more than 2,000 forms in the walls made by like that. The bucket with the plaster on it, a spatula to grab the capacity wall. After the brush shape was made, a little sharp knife to make everything like very good, and then sandpaper to just smooth the edges. Wonderful guests. I'd like you to tell me, what was this room made for? First time I entered here, I heard dancing, I heard dining. First time I entered here, I was recently married with my wife. And someone asked me, what do you think this room was made for? And I was transported to the moment in the wedding that I was dancing with my wife and thinking how amazing it would have been to do it here. And you know what? This was never made for dancing. It has all the things for it. I would agree with you to say it for dancing. The floor, the chandeliers, the light, the colors. It screams dancing at us. But this room never had anything to do with dancing. This room was pure and simple, made for the guards of the palace. That's it. The guards of the palace, 8 to 12 guards, would stand here with their alabards, with their very strong faces, in their military positions, giving orders to the bishops. The protocol in the 1700s would be like this. You would have arrived to the palace, cross the door that we crossed ourselves, but never in your food ever. You would have crossed that door in the comfort of your carriage. The carriage would have made a U-turn, dropped you at the front of the staircase, then some ambassador of the palace would have brought you up the stairs and bring you here and here. You would stand in the room waiting for the bishop to come from right there. Unfortunately, due to the Second World War, the room of the bishop no longer exists. It was destroyed. It was never the money to make it back, and you know that. But the bishop then would come from there, and depends on the affair you have to do. You would be carried if it would be politics. You would be crossing the staircase hall to the other side. If you would come to stay for a couple of nights as a visitor, you would go there. And if you would come just for a private issue with the bishop, something a little bit smaller, you would go with the bishop through his office. My noble guest is here still has the guards to show to us how they look like. In the corner there, we have cavalry. Here, in this corner, you have infantry. And right there, we have our generals. But not just this room, it's an allegory about the guards, the importance of them to our town, the importance of the guards to the world. If you look here to this figure, this woman, right there, she is very good, but she is Bellona, the goddess of destruction. And you this man doesn't look much, but is Mars, the god of war. Bellona, destruction, Mars, war. Wait, I want to show something else. Above the doors here, in this direction, with your heads, we have fountains, water being over here. We have babies coming flying with flowers in their hands, and we have nymphs of paradise. So we have three worlds in opposite directions. We have war and destruction, and we have paradise. Who keeps the balance between the world? Is the guards of our town, the guards of our palace, the guards of the bishop. The military of Franconia makes the difference to the general population. If we are in war or paradise, they are the ones that balance the things. And this is the message that the book is trying to transmit. My noble guests, have you looked to above each and every guard that we have the drapery? What do you think that drapery is made of? It's plaster. Looks fabric, but it's plaster. And now I would like to ask you one last question before we leave. How long can you tell me that one single man, with the help of his oldest son, that was not talent himself, I can tell you. So everything here is made by his dad. Just the more the son would more do the mix and help with the scaffolding. This is the art of one man. How long can you tell me that this could be finished? 30 years. Most of the rooms in this palace. So there is to be somewhere less than that. But how less? He went here 20. He did a lot. He did the staircase hall as well. But here was kind of the first they do? So to be the showcase, it will be way less than 20 years. How long? Don't be shy. Show me a number.
5.
2 years. 2 years. Good, so good. Anyone here thinks that 2 years was possible? And what if I would tell you that it was less than 2 years? Less than 1. This whole room was made in 9 months. 24/7. We believe so. But there are some descriptions about the artist, and the descriptions they say that he was here for 9 months. Why was there rush? The decoration took 36 years. This room in specific in 9 months. Because when the room was already being made, when the room was already being prepared, a woman sent us a letter. That woman was Maria Theresa, the Empress of Austria. And in this letter she said, "Oh, my bishop, I'm coming to the imperial wedding in Frankfurt, and I would like to stop by to see how is the structure of the palace going on." And the bishops had the construction very delayed, and they didn't have much to show. And then they have 6 months of notice, and they needed to finish something to show their influence, their power. And this was the result. And the chandeliers were not here yet because Maria Theresa was the one selling them to the bishop later. In the 1750s, it was finished in 1745. And the room outside, the fresco, for example, 1753. So you can see 9 years later. Never fell off, man. No, it's still original, fully original. It's still everything that I'm showing you, fresco here, is still fully original, man. The only during the Second World War, just here, a little bit of this part here fell down because of rain infiltrations. Because our roof was broken and then war was leaking, but that's it, ma'am. 90% of this is original. I know. No, they are just brass. And they are not original. Back in the day, just the crystal chandeliers would be here. They were already added in the end of the 19th century. And they are kind of a crime. A lot of people don't like them. So, this just is unique. If you thought that the beauty was already over, wait until we enter in our next room. It's one of the most incredible Baroque rooms existing in the world. Just come from there, from the door, and try to place yourselves here more close to the stage. My ladies and gentlemen, this is the Imperial Hall. Before you told me that the White Hall might have been for dining, might have been for dancing. Dining and dancing would have been made here. This was the multi-purpose room. It was a room that could be used, ma'am, if you would like to sit, or anyone else, you can take the stage there on the side. This room here, anyone that would like to sit, you can take the stage. This room right here where we are standing, it was used for the most variety of things. Concerts, just dining for great banquets, also would be audience for the bishop in special occasions. And this room here screams at you wealth. It screams at you, look at me, I'm rich. This room here is one of the most superb examples of the Baroque architecture in the 1700s. My room is, we are surrounded by 20 columns. What is the material that you think that they are made of? Yes, very good, man. They are actually looking like marble, but they are not marble. They're just made of stucco. It's that incredible. This stucco was not painted, but rather dyed. This is what is called faux marble or fake marble. And in the 1700s, it was not even made because of need, because the marble exists in the ground, you can see it. It was made because the artists played God. Hey, we can do whatever we want. We don't even need nature anymore. We can do it whatever we propose ourselves to do. This is a beginning of what comes then later in the 19th century with all of this freedom of the artists. My noble guest, then we have statues. The other side there, you have a statue of a man, looks like Poseidon, it represents water. The woman next to him represents fire. Here, you have the woman that represents air, and the man is the first representation in the world of someone doing a selfie. It's actually the four elements of alchemy. That is the kind of the art of transforming a stone in gold. And it might be that our bishops found the recipe, because just in this room here, everything that you see looking like gold is gold, 24 carats gold. Of course, not massive, it's just covering plaster behind, but still 7.5 kilos of gold leaf were used just in this room alone. So imagine. My noble guests, then we have the chandeliers. Same story as the ones before. 1750s, Maria Teresa sold them to the bishops. And I want you to look to that painting on the top there. You can see that the painting, it's one of these curtains that are opening to your memory, something from the past. On the stage of something that happened long time ago. Let's see, it's clearly away. You can see the bishop. That is moving in the front of him. That happens Frederick Barbarossa. And next to him, his new wife, Beatrice of Burgundy. That wedding happened in 1156. And the journey that makes the wedding possible, it's what made our bishop so powerful. Emperor Frederick Barbarossa, one of the most important emperors of all time in Europe, comparable to a Roman emperor, he was incredible. Like, I can tell him as a king, he's my favorite of the history of Europe. Like, without doubt. He's really like, he's intelligent, he's strong, he lived a very long life, and he had a plan to make the Empire of Germany to be the best of the best of the best. But in the middle of all of these plans, Frederick Barbarossa is suffering a trouble. He's married with another woman, not the one in the picture, but the one before, and that other woman cannot have children. And now he needs to solve that. Imagine if he dies in the battle, and after all of his success as an emperor, he doesn't have a child to continue his legacy. This would have been a very hard thing. And he, desperate, writes a letter to the Pope. My Pope, I need a solution, please, as fast as you can give it to me. And the Pope said, Barbarossa, I'm sorry, but I cannot do anything. Whatever God unites, nobody can separate, not even I. You need to be with this woman till death puts you apart. And you already know what happened to our first queen, huh? She fell from the balcony and died. No, she didn't. She actually lived a long life after. Frederick Barbarossa actually found another solution. He didn't accept the no of the Pope as an answer, and he actually sends the Bishop of Würzburg in the 1100s to go to the Vatican and convince the Pope that the marriage needs to be possible after. He needs a new wife. And our Pope, our Bishop, actually manages by making a huge lie in the face of the Pope. The lie was simple. My Pope, Frederick Barbarossa, and his wife Adelaide, was the name of our first queen, they never had consummated their marriage before. A marriage that is not consummated, it's a marriage that basically doesn't exist. Please just come a little bit closer to the front. My colleague is about to come from there. And because of that non-consummated marriage, they could have separated legally without even a divorce. I can tell you that I'm married myself for 4 years now, of the 7 that I live with my wife, and my parents are starting to get worried about grandchildren. Every now and then, when we talk, they ask, "Hey, Tiago, Sarah, what about grandchildren?" And our excuse so far has been, "Mom, Dad, we never consummated our marriage." But they start to not believe on us. I think it's the time that I give a phone call to the Bishop of Würzburg. My noble guests, after the wedding being consummated with the new wife, Beatrice and Barbarossa get 13 children. And she actually even dies giving birth to the number 13. And then the bishop, in the meanwhile, is like, "Hey, I saved the empire, I did a lot for you, now it's time that you do something for me." And the emperor, he was not just keeping it for himself. Take a look to your back. In the back, you will find there Frederick Barbarossa sitting in the throne, and then kneeling to him, you have our bishop from Würzburg extending his fingers to touch in the sword of the emperor. This usually means that you are becoming a duke yourself. But Frederick Barbarossa wants to do better. Just a duke doesn't sound right for a man that saved an empire. And Frederick Barbarossa says to the bishop, "My bishop, a duke is the official title, but for me and for my successors, you will always be the eternal son of the empire. And shall this empire exist, and you will be considered one of their sons." And that's why we had the Prince Bishop for 635 years. The Bishop of Würzburg was the second figure of state. He combined the power of the kings with the power of a bishop from the Catholic Church. That's why our bishop lived like an emperor. The only thing, he could not have an empress, and every time that the bishop dies, another bishop would need to be elected. My noble guests, here we start the free time. I wanted to give you 30 minutes. 30 minutes we have. So you remember, 11:35 outside. I would recommend that you all take at least this wing right here behind me. It's the most spectacular of the palace. The other wing there to the side is also beautiful, but more of what you are going to see this side here. And why this side and not that? Because on this side you have the mirror cabinet that is the most impressive in this palace, and you have the pictures of the destruction of the Second World War. You have the elevator, you have washrooms, and then this here should take you like 10 minutes, and then I would recommend go downstairs, pick your belongings. Needs to be before 30. Before 30 you need to pick, because it's the 5 minutes that you need to then meet me in the front. And I would say take 10 minutes here, then go down and visit the gardens. Here is very hot, as you feel, and in the gardens you will just have the best of your time. And then everybody meets again with me, and then I tell you, if you want to come in the city tour, we have a city tour after. If you want to go back to the ship, you have a ship to go back, and I will point you to the bus. Is that okay? Don't forget that your belongings are behind the staircase, backpacks, bottles of water. Please pick everything. Thank you very much. Enjoy. If you need questions or anything, I'm here to serve you the best as I can. Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am. It was no electricity. This would all candles, ma'am. All candles. They would be possible to like lower. They would have a pulley system in the attic, and then the servant would lower them, and then they would put candles, and then the candles would burn to give light. Ma'am. That's it. Now this is everything wired since already the 1920s, ma'am. So for more than 100 years. Tell me, ma'am. You had a question. Just when you
good question.
Here, just finish it.
Lighting.
Perfect. Yeah, well.
Especially at night. What do they do here at night? Oh.
Is the dicey band in the corner?
Yeah. Jeez. Well, there's a grandfather clock, eh? Look at that one. The chandelier. Neat. Good. Oh yeah. Take a picture. You got it? Oh,
Make it close, please.
yeah. Take a few. Oh, it's good. Wow. It never ends. The opulence of this place. Holy jeez. I thought Versailles was something. Oh, I know. Oh, is this the mirror room? Oh, wow. Gee. My God. I'm gonna bomb your picture. Please. Jeez, look at that. Oh, gold. Look at the gold that they put in here. Gold. Gilded. My God. Wow. Just stunning. Detail on this. Oh, mirrors. Oh. Look at the tapestry here. Wow. Oh, the tapestry room. All these tapestries. Let's see this one. Oh. Oh, this is the war damage. Wow.
That's it. That's really that's the thought to me. I can't.
Let's go spend some time in the garden.
Excuse me.
Oops, sorry. Oops. I feel like beach buggies staying in the middle of the carpet here.
Just imagine you got their big, heavy
Stay on the
gowns
big
on.
carpet. Okay, Paula, walk down the red carpet, right down the middle.
Certainly lucked out with the weather.
I think you said 11:30.
Yeah, be outside.
Time for the garden, we just can't do that. Yes, it is. I wondered about that. I was wondering about that. And I had
Boy, it's bright. Did you bring my sunglasses? Did you bring my sunglasses?
Yeah.
Good.
The boat. It's actually a leisurely walk, ma'am, along the river. If you have benches here and there,
He's not really in my.
you decide, ma'am. Whatever is best for you.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. So, my noble ladies, was everything good? Did you enjoy?
Yes.
Would you like to go back to the ship or to join the city tour? Okay, so ma'am, to the ship. There is our bus, this white large bus, and was a pleasure to have you with me. Thank you very much, and I hope that you enjoyed. And I wish you a very lovely trip in these next days. You still have a lot of adventures to come along. Hello, hello. Hello. How are you?
How long is the tour?
The tour around 45 minutes, ma'am. 45 minutes.
And then you can stay in
And then you can stay in town till 6:15.
because you're walking back either way to the bus or the boat.
You also want to take the bus back, ma'am?
do.
Oh, thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. So, for the bus back, you want to stay, ma'am, or go to the bus back? Okay. So the bus is just there. The white bus, just there.
With the red crown.
The one the one there in white. There is our bus. Oh, thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Very nice.
Thank you very much. Very much appreciated.
Are there bathroom stops along the next 45 minutes?
No, ma'am. No.
And where are they in here?
He also not was just inside, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Oh, thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. Highly appreciate it. Thank you so much, ma'am.
You said the city tour was 45 minutes.
Yes, sir. More or less.
And that ends at
And then it ends at the city center, and then you have anyone from my group.
F or A were both in
Anyone
this
from
box.
my group that has this belongings?
definitely and after the center to the
Then to the boat, sir. It's 20 minutes. 20 minutes, sir. It's a very clear path. I explained to you in the way that you cannot get lost. No, it's very easy. It's very easy. Because your ship is docked kind of behind these three very large chimneys, and that is the kind of something that you, as long as you are next to the river, you always see them. Tell me, sir. Sherry, she's here with some luggage of people. There she is. You lost something, sir. A backpack.
Back to the thing.
She's there. Sherry is there.
by the buses.
Sherry! Sherry!
Oh, I see.
I have here the...
Okay, so my dear travelers, did you enjoy the palace? Yes. Was it optional? Yeah. By saying it, that's the
sir, I can tell you, I do this tour for already 13 years. 13. And I never had a bad day.
I might last 13 minutes.
I never had a bad day myself. I really enjoy. It's always a pleasure. Ma'am, here. Would you like to go back to the ship directly or to the city tour? City tour here with me, please.
Is there more than one city tour or?
Everybody does the same. Man. All the same. Just different groups. Just different groups. So just wait a second more.
Got your bag. It's good.
Hello.
Where's back to the ship?
Back to the ship, ma'am. The bus right there.
Got it.
Right there. So it's now the time that I said, but I always like to give one extra minute or two. We don't need to rush. I will put it on, sir. I will put it on. Not yet on. I can do it now. So now it should be back on for you. So did you enjoy the palace? Everything that you have seen after? Was it nice?
Amazing.
It's really incredible, isn't it? What do you have to say about that? Oh, it's always like that, ma'am. What do you have to say about that mirror cabinet? Quite something, isn't it? That is quite something. The city
Turn the
here,
volume
sir.
up a bit.
Wait, what bomb? So this is actually the craziest. Our city was
I
not
don't think it is.
military. Our city was
No.
never a target, and the Germans did it on purpose to not militarize the city.
We're 16,
to
yeah.
avoid a bombardment.
I don't think
because
he's turned
it was
on.
a very important city.
Oh, he's not plugged in.
It was very gorgeous, and the Germans
Spark
wanted to
jumps from
preserve
there
it
to-
as much as
Yeah.
it would be possible. But the British, in the 16th of March, they had their last chance to hurt the Germans where it hurts the most. And that's why they came here. And it's no more, no less than a revenge. That's it. I would like to call it something different, but I would be lying to you. So it's a payback. 97%, sir. 97%. Tell me, ma'am. Oh, We are Thank you so much.
Just repeat.
Like, you all heard that. You all heard.
Yes, yes.
So I think we already waited a long time enough. So, ma'am, you are here. I was looking for you before, but I saw you there talking. But all good. You're back with us. Was the gardens nice? Did you all enjoy the gardens a little bit? A peek at least. Ma'am, you can actually, when you finish the city tour, it's just like a 10-minute walk and you can come to the gardens because you are here docked until 6:15. So you have the whole afternoon for you. I would recommend that, I don't know, you do what it's best for you, but take a nice lunch in town. I can recommend you like from an easygoing place until a little bit. We don't have anything really chic here, but you know, something a little bit more typical. I can recommend you everything. I am here to make your day the best as it can be, and sometimes it's different for different people, so never feel shy to approach me, that I can help you in that regard. So are you ready to rock and roll? Yes?
Yes.
How long is the city tour?
About 45 minutes, ma'am. 45, 50 minutes, depends our pace, depends on how the stories develop, but more or less, like we should finish around 12:30.
And then will there be a bus available back to the
That
ship?
is walking, sir, walking, but it's 20 minutes walk. 20 minutes walk. 20 minutes leisurely walk. Yeah, so it's no problem. If anyone actually then doesn't want to stay alone, I'm also walking myself that direction. So, please, my noble guests, just come along with me.
In the city.
Let's rock and roll the town. So, my noble guests, you see these two large houses that make here our square. We have one here that is a restaurant today, and we have another one right there. That one there, it's actually like triple of the size of this one here to the back. Actually, this one here was just built kind of as a facade. It was mostly used as a garden shed rather than anything special on the time of the bishops. But that house right there, it was a real palace. A palace that was used mostly for our bishops having the ambassador of the Holy Roman Empire of Germany. There they would be there, the representative of the empire would be there to be always available here next to the bishop. Our bishops lived inside of this house pretty much alone. They would have lived here with 300 servants. This is how many staff members our bishops had on the time. And if you are wondering, where did the staff members
get it?
live? Yeah. In different places of the palace. Let's say that you are a staff member with a certain relevance, with an important place. You would live in these rooms that you see in between the main floors. Do you see some little windows? Actually, still today, we have 6 people living in the palace. And they live in these small staff apartments. But this would be mostly for secretaries, for the helpers of the bishop, the ones that would be in more close contact with the bishop. They would live there and they would be like ants, you know. They exist, they are behind the walls, but you never see them. And the others, let's say the kids that would feed the fire stoves, the people that would work in the kitchen and so on, they would live in the roof of the palace. If you look into the roof, you will see windows everywhere. Those windows used to be for the staff. Here in our palace, unfortunately, the headquarters of the staff no longer exist. The headquarters of the staff was very destroyed in the Second World War, and new roofs needed to be reconstructed. But during my studies, when I was learning to be a tour guide, I had the opportunity of visiting the same palace at the same period of time, the rooms for the staff, and it was something simple, like simple. The staff would sleep in the ground in like straw beds. And often there, for example, I'm a big guy, I needed to really crawl on my knees to go to certain places where the staff members would sleep. Our bishops. This will turn red in a moment, so we need to wait for the next round. Our bishops inside of this glorious house, they could just receive 7 people in total. Do you remember when we finished, I said to you to go in one direction and it was another direction. This would be the 2 larger rooms. That was one to each side for emperors or kings that would visit us. This would be the rooms. All that you saw, one after the other, was for one person, each direction one person. And then we had another 5 rooms, not so elevated, not so incredible, but still quite good into the other direction, the political corner. And you might wonder, where did the bishop live? The bishop lived right here to this corner here, to the tower, more to the patio. There it was the place where the bishop lived, that was completely destroyed during the Second World War. So, my noble guests, so just come along. And we are just entering here.
Got rainbows here too.
Crossing the street, we are entering in the medieval ages town of Rothenburg. Sorry. You know what? I will confess you, today is my free day. And I just came to cover for a colleague, and I usually do Rothenburg tour, the whole day tour, every single day. So forgive me if I say Rothenburg here and there. So my noble guests, so we are now entering in the medieval Würzburg city. Until the construction of the palace, our city was finishing just here, across the street. There is where the walls of our town would have been placed back in the time. This green building, it's a different style of architecture that is very German. It's called Bauhaus. The architectural style Bauhaus started in the 1920s as a response to the First World War. When the First World War finished, Germany was completely devastated, no much resources in terms of money and other kinds of resources. So they needed a practical style that was cheap but still beautiful and light enough to play with the resources that were available. And so this house here, it's not that old, it's not from the 1920s, but it's from the 1950s when Germany was crossing precisely the same troubles that we were in the 1920s. And this, by the way, it's our University of Music of the city of Würzburg. We have what we call rather a conservatory. That is where you come to learn to play instruments and also acting as the university. You can actually get a degree as an instrument player. And do you remember the chairs that were inside of the palace? Chairs and also a stage, all of that, it's because of something that we call the Mozart Festival. The Mozart Festival is the most important festival of classical music happening in Europe. And it happens here in our city of Würzburg for 100 years. My noble guests, take a look to the fountain. This fountain, very special because it was built by the same architect as the palace. Balthasar Neumann, his name. Balthasar Neumann here gives us a very beautiful design, but also the 3 different stones that this region of Germany, Franconia, is known for. And the 3 different stones are 2 sandstone, 1 red and 1 a little bit more brownish, and then we also have the shell limestone. And the 3 compose the fountain. And who are the figures? In the top, you have a man with wings yelling at a woman. And you can see that the woman is quite afraid of him. And this is no more no less than Kronos, the god of time, and the woman is Cleo, the goddess of history. Kronos is pointing to the palace and yelling at Cleo that in his opinion, as the god of time, Cleo, the goddess of history, is not making enough notes about what happens inside of the palace. Under, in the white structure where the water is coming out, you find a man, long beard, but look at his body, like an 18-year-old. I am sure that if we would raise the shirts of all of your husbands would be pretty much the same, huh? And this man right there, it's actually an invention of Würzburg, and it would be the god Minos. The god Minos is our river of Würzburg. He looks like Poseidon, but we know that he's not Poseidon because of the belt made of grapes and vine leaves. This street that we are walking at the moment, it's the street that was back in the past reserved for the nobility in the town of Würzburg. This is still known today as the Hof Street or the Palace Street. And in this street we had back in the days of the palace, 17 different palaces. The palaces would make left and right of the street, amazing palaces, but of course a little bit more humble than the one that we have there. And to whom was these palaces belong? To the electors of the bishop. As you can imagine, I already told you inside, a bishop cannot have a child himself, at least legally. If the walls would tell us stories, it would be a different one, but legally, no children could come from the bishop, so this was not a family business. Once you die, someone else from another family in the town might be elected the next bishop of Würzburg. And this election system was very well defined in the 1100s by Frederick Barbarossa, by the emperor, and the system of election was like this. You need to be born or in any of the lands that belong to Würzburg, the formal Franconia. And as you are born there, you need to be from one of 27 different families. These 27 different families were all written down, and they all already existed in the 1100s. And when this bishop dies, the 27 families reunite, and they reunite in the cathedral. And these 27 families are complemented by the priests that rule all the churches around Würzburg. And these families, one member of each and one priest of each parish, they sit, they vote, and they need to come up with one name. The name needs to be then approved by the emperor and by the Pope. And in case of drought, like that, imagine that we have in a certain year the same number of votes from one side, same votes for the other side. The Pope is the one to decide who is getting the place. By noble guess,
Napoleon came through and threw out the goddamn Catholic Church.
the man was saying there, Napoleon came through, and it's true. Napoleon arrived here to us in 1803. I already mentioned to you that Napoleon's palace is the palace above all the other palaces. And when Napoleon came through, actually the bishops were gone forever. Napoleon took over the city of Würzburg and made it his own city. For 3 years, Napoleon Bonaparte was living here in our city. And then Napoleon was kicked out. He lost the war against the rest of Europe. And throughout a series of political dances, Würzburg ends to be part of Bavaria and no more bishops. Since 1807, we have been a state or a part of the state of Bavaria. Nothing that our population really likes, nothing that our population is happy about at all, But it is what it is, and we need to accept it. My noble guests, just come here because here we have shade, and then we need to cross the street to the other side. But from here you can see in the whole glory our cathedral. The Cathedral of Würzburg, in our days, quite big for the size of our town. It used to be the largest cathedral north of the Alps. This cathedral, when started to be built in the 700s, 1300 years ago, it was first made of wood, was very simple, but with the centuries kept growing and growing, and in the 1000, so the year 1000, we had the largest Romanic cathedral north of the Alps. This was quite an impressive title. In our days, we are the third largest. Be careful, just open a little corridor that some people that is coming behind. Thank you very much. This cathedral in our days is the third largest cathedral on its style in the country of Germany. We were surpassed by two other cathedrals from the same period that were built around about the 1100s. But still our cathedral has a lot of different features from pretty much every time and style that ever existed in the world. The nave is Romanic, that goes back to 1000 years ago. The big towers, they are from 500 years ago, and they are what we call the Renaissance. Then we have the cloister, there to the back. It is in Gothic style, 1300s. Then we have two chapels in kind of each side. We actually can go around and you can see them better, and they are from the classical period. So just come with me here. I need to go on the sunshine, but then you can see it better. Start to go, and then we go ourselves. Make it easy. This is my career as a policeman. So, my noble guests, we just cross here to the other side. Be careful with the step before you come to the other side of the street. And from here, it will be easier. So just take a look to other details of our cathedral. Why does our cathedral has this puzzle of the styles? Why so many different? Why not one style like so many other European cathedrals? It has to do that every bishop that we ever had along history, they wanted to leave their mark very well clear. This is from my time, was something that I did. So, now you can see there to the back the windows in Gothic style from the 1300s. And you can see here, in each side of the main nave, two small chapels. They are from the neoclassic type, from the 19th century, already made by the kings of Bavaria. But the most important treasure has to do with the green roof of the style that imitates the palace. That chapel was made by the same architect as the palace, and that chapel, it's where the body of the first and the third man that built the palace are buried. Their name is the Schönbrunn family. And the Schönbrunn is the palace that you have been these days in Vienna. And what are the Schönbrunns doing here in Würzburg? They were cousins from each other. And the emperors in Vienna had a branch of their family here with us. And that branch of the family with us lived here, still does today, for more than 1000 years. And it's just a coincidence that in Vienna they were the emperors and here they were the bishops. Over 1000 years of bishops ruling this town, 4 of them were Schönbrunns. So my noble guests, we just go here on the corner to see a little bit more of our cultural heritage. From the street to the front of us, you can see another house of the electors of the Bishop of Würzburg. And if you look here to our right-hand side, you can see the house of our bishop at the moment. Our bishop at the moment is mid-50s, very good man. I always forget his name because he has a complicated German name, but he lives inside of that house that actually was given to him, to the bishops after the prince bishops by the kings of Bavaria in 1813. The kings of Bavaria said to the bishops, hey guys, you can return. Napoleon is not here anymore. You can return to the city. You are more than welcome to be back as the shepherds of your community. But one thing you can never be again. You can never be the prince bishop. Just the bishop. And just the bishop they have been for the last 200 years living inside of that house. I know, it's not too bad. And it's a little bit closer to their job than before. Final guess, just please come along with me. At any second, we are going to start to hear the bells of our cathedral. So get ready, and we'll get loud. Take a look here to the details of the chapel, of the burial chapel of our bishops from the Schönbrunn family. Look at the skulls there, look at the lions with the coat of arms from the family and skulls everywhere. It's quite macabre, but very beautiful at the same moment. Ladies and gentlemen, just come along with me. Let's try to get here to order. We are not disturbed the bells of the
Ja, aber Gott, in der anderen Leben hätte ich gar nicht so gewesen. Ja, also von daher, du warst
so very refreshing here. My noble ladies and gentlemen, this gentleman here in this statue, it's the most important person ever to exist in this town. This man here, his name is Saint Kilian. Saint Kilian was a traveling bishop. He arrived here to us more or less in the 680, and this man was the responsible that this town became Catholic. When this man arrived, Saint Kilian, we would be pagan. We would be ruled by a duke called Godfred and by a duchess called Guyana. Godfred and Guyana see this man approaching the walls of the city. I need to approach this more to my mouth that you can hear. This man is seen approaching the city, and our duke and duchess, they're very happy and they let him to come in and to tell them all about God. Our duke gets very excited about God, but our duchess, she doesn't get the excitement of the husband. But it's all good, as long as her husband is happy. For her, it's not a problem that he becomes a Catholic and she remains a pagan woman. But one day, our duchess Guyana, that is listening about behind the door, she listens to this man telling to her husband that if they don't get married as Schneider, that was our German Michelangelo. Here, it's the burial stone from him that he got in the 1500s. And here's a representation how his body was buried here in this corner. Tilman Riemenschneider was one of the greatest artists of this country, but he actually dies as a traitor. Well, how that happened? Tilman Riemenschneider, in the year 1525, he decides with a bunch of low nobility, with a bunch of other gentlemen here from the town, to make a plot to kill the bishops. In their opinion, the bishops were tyrants. In their opinion, the bishops should not live any longer, and we deserved a better world with where men can look into each other's eyes, and especially where men can provide for their families and not provide to the glory of the bishop. And this guy, he fought very hard. He actually, together with 35,000 peasants, they made an attack to the castle of the bishops. They were very successful before that. The bishops were shaking, thinking that the end comes, but the bishops were informed in the last battle about the plan, and the bishops got kind of a trap to the peasants, and they say that in that day of 1525, the waters of the river Main turned red with the blood of the peasants. Every single person that survived the war was hanged. The bishops, they didn't care. They hanged the 35,000 men, or the remain that survived the battles. Tilman Riemenschneider, he survived to the hanging. He actually was with a rope already in his neck. And when they asked him, what are your last words, Tilman? And the answer was, I would do it everything again, because I believed in the world different than the one that we live. And in that moment, when they were about to pull the lever, the thing to make him drop with a rope on his neck, the population starts to scream his name. And the bishops were very afraid that a new riot would emerge once again. And they decided to show mercy, to show to the population, hey, we are not so evil as you are saying that we are, and they forgive Tilman, but in the end he was a criminal, and he was not deserving to be buried here in the cemetery. Here where we are standing was a cemetery until the 19th century. And actually, Tilman was gone. Nobody knew where he was buried. He actually got to be buried under another person, right here next to the wall here of the cathedral. And when the Second World War came, all of this wall here collapsed. And when they were digging here to make new foundations and everything, they, by like a luck, found the gravestone of Tilman Riemenschneider, and they brought him back to the place where the heroes should live, and the heroes should be celebrated. And this year, Würzburg is celebrating the 500th anniversary of that riot against the bishops. My noble guests, just please come with me. Gorgeous place to be visited. So if you would like to visit our cathedral, I highly recommend to do it, because it's for free and it's as beautiful as the palace inside. But you need to wait until 1 o'clock, because now, as the bells are playing, we are having service. And just when the service is done at 1, you then can visit the cathedral once again, and it's totally worth it to just climb the steps and enter inside. We have a part of the cathedral that survived the war that looks like the White Hall with the plaster decoration. We have the middle roof was made in the 1960s, gorgeous as well. and we have kind of a mix of old and modern features because the cathedral during the Second World War was very much devastated. My noble guests, just approach with me here to this side. I want to show you a map with practical information. Before we finish our tour, we still have like 15 minutes of tour more or less. But I just want you to take a picture here of the map and to get dankeschön. And that you can get very comfortable about what will gonna happen here in this afternoon. So we are right here, the number 6, the dome, the cathedral, right here. Your ship, it's docked right here. Can you see it? In the Kulturspeis, you have there the anchor that represents your dock. Right here, you are docked. We are going to finish the tour right here at the number 5. That is that tower that you see there. You see that big tower? Is the number 5. There is where we are finishing the tour. What can you do in your free time? I would definitely say in the day like today, sun is shining, it's a hot day. You need to go into the bridge and grab a glass of wine and drink our local wine that is white, that is fresh, that is the perfect thing for celebrating this day in Würzburg on the top of the bridge. And once you are on the top of this bridge, you just need to look into your to your right, to the right, and you will see the 3 large chimneys. Remember the 3 large chimneys, and your ship is behind the 3 large chimneys. Is that clear? Yep. You just basically tell me, sir.
Do they sell any beer there?
There also beer, yeah, of course. But wine, we are in the wine region, sir.
Red?
White. So you just need to basically walk next to the river all the way down under the bridge and then all the way here until you find your ship. It's like, because you don't know, I would say 20 minutes. When I know, it's like 10-15. So, but of course you are going relax, you are walking a little bit slowly because you need to make sure where you go. But remember, the 3 large chimneys are your reference point. Your ship, it's behind. In any case, you never should go to the other side of the river. You are in the right side of the river. Your ship in this side of the river. Once you see the water, to the right, and you will eventually find your ship. Is that clear? Yep. Perfect. So let's just continue a little bit more. Just come along with me. I want to show you 2 or 3 more beautiful things, and then you are good to go. So my noble guests here, as you can see, our town is very busy. Today is Saturday. Don't forget that tomorrow it's a no shopping day. Tomorrow every single thing, it will be closed. So if you need pharmacy or if you need something else, remember yourselves that it's today or Monday. Getting here to the front, we are going to see the church that we had next to the cathedral. I would say the most beautiful church we have in our town. It's called Neumünster. Yes. That translates as the new monastery. The new monastery church was constructed in the late 1600s. If you come here where I am, you find the best picture. If you come here where I'm standing at the moment, you will find the very best picture for it. The new monastery church was emerging here after the second half of the 1600s, after the Protestants destroyed our town during the 30 Years' War. Our city, a Catholic city, was attacked during the 1600s by the Protestants, represented by King Gustav II from Sweden. King Gustav II attacked our city, and for 3 years we were under the Swedish rule. And the Swedish, when they are finally kicked away from the town, they leave the city in fire. All the churches, every palace, everything was destroyed. You might think that the bishops were crying about that. The bishops actually saw this as an opportunity. Hey, now we have a clean canvas, we can do whatever we want. And they made the new streets, new arrangements to the town. So pretty much the way that the city looks today has to do with that new opportunity that we got in the second half of the 1600s. But let's talk about the 5 statues that you find in the middle top of the church. In the middle, Jesus. Without Jesus, no bishops. Without Jesus, no missionary monks. Without Jesus, no Würzburg city the way it is today. So Jesus is in the center of everything. Surrounding Jesus, 2 bishops with swords. Strange thing to see a bishop with a sword. This bishop's the one with the sword up. It's Saint Kilian, the Irish missionary monk. And this Irish monk, he was actually a knight. And these early knights, they were what we call travel bishops. Traveling in the back roads of Europe in the 600s was very dangerous. Just a knight, a strong knight, would have the authority to travel and to be accepted to enter in castles around the town. Next to the other side, you have a man with a sword down, also a bishop, that one holding a little church in the palm of his hand. That man there is the builder of our cathedral. His name is Saint Buckhart, an English man that was sent by the Pope to shepherd the first community of Catholics in the city of Würzburg. And in the corners, with a chalice in his hand, you have Saint Colonnat. And in the other side, with the knife in the hand, you have Saint Tottenham. And these are the 2 Irish boys that would have traveled with the first Irish monk that is named Kilian. My noble guests, just come a little bit here to the front with me. I would like to show you a very cool effect that this street has. So if you want to take a picture, now is the good time for it. So, just come here to the end of the street with me. And once we get here, right here, take a look to your back. It's a really cool effect that we have, like a tunneling effect that make the church to look even more gorgeous than already looked before. Our Neumünster Church. So take your pictures with time and just move a little bit here forward with me. You remember our architect of the house, Balthasar Neumann? He also built this yellow building here. And this would be the closest to a shopping mall in the 1700s. This here would be actually a block of office in the top for the merchants. In the top we would have like companies with the office where the merchants would rule their businesses. And down, this was already made in the 1750s to be like a shopping area where the people would come to buy the different trades that would exist in the town. Yes, just come on with me. We also have a very large church. This church is dedicated to the ascension of the Virgin to the heavens, the day that the Catholic Church celebrates every 15th of August. But before I tell you about the church, Gothic style, it's from the 1300s. The way it looks today Reconstructed using the traditional techniques and the knowledge that was acquired along the centuries. In our days, from the outside looks perfect, but the inside unfortunately lost a lot of the charm. But inside of this church we have two major important characters of our city buried. Balthasar Neumann, our architect, and we also have inside Thielmann Riemann Schneider, because two of the statues that I will show you in a moment that are in this church were made by him. Come with me in a second, because I would like to show you something quite impressive. Here, look to your right hand side, and you will see one of the most beautiful houses in the town of Würzburg. This house in yellow and white plaster decoration, it's known as the Falcon House. It used to be a private home for a widow of our city. She built it. She was the widow of the richest man in town, and in the end of the 1700s she makes this wonder. This house was very destroyed in the Second World War, and it was reconverted in our days to be the library of the city of Würzburg and the touristic information center. And it's called Falcon House. Once we are here, take a look to the door of the facade of the church. Around the door you find two statues. These statues are Adam and Eve, and they are the creation of Thielmann Riemann Schneider. They were made in the Renaissance, and they are one of the most elevated things that Thielmann Riemann Schneider left to us. The details, the face, the hair, this is all Renaissance. This is all the same time as Michelangelo have lived himself. My noble guests, after your pictures.
Hallo. Habt ihr Rhabarber? Ja. Dann würde ich einen halben nehmen.
Was brought by Napoleon Bonaparte to celebrate his conquer of the city in 1803. Where the farmers are selling all of their production. You still have asparagus, you have the famous strawberries of Franconia that are actually quite amazing. I mean, just feel the smell of them. I have them in the fridge. I love our Franconian strawberries, apples, apple juice, jams. It's very cool to have still this traditional market in a city like Würzburg. We are just entering here. In this street full of balloons. Just come along with me, my noble guests. This street here is known as the Schustergasse, or translating the shoemaker street. Back in the early medieval ages, every street would have their own type of skills. You would have a gilder street where usually the Jews would live, making jewelry and transaction in gold. you would have the shoemakers, you would have the tanners and the dyers, and every different business would be in different corners of the town. I don't know if anyone here is into gummy bears. I'm actually maybe the only person on the planet Earth that doesn't like gummies, but my wife is crazy about gummies, and according to my wife, the gummies from this shop here are the best in Germany. Usually everybody likes Haribo. Haribo is the most famous, but Haribo became a global enterprise that makes everything industrialized and full of chemicals. This brand is a family-owned business, still quite small. Not every city has a shop from them. You can see that is everything very traditional and supposedly the best gummy bears in Germany. I need to recommend because otherwise my wife beats me. Because she loves it so much that she says that everybody loves it. So I hope that helps you. Try something good.
Extra was geschenkt.
5 minutes longer, like I promised, we are finishing at 12:30. I just want to point you out some practical places, like the local supermarket. So, my noble guests, here we are back in the street of our cathedral. If you look to the top, cathedral, if you look down, Edeka. You have our local supermarket. If something that you need in general groceries, often I have guests that want to buy toothpaste, a toothbrush, something in that regard. Local supermarket where our regular people and myself make our shopping. Here, to our right hand side, a media shop. Sometimes some people want to buy an SD card or a cable for charging the phone. You have it here. Here down, I have a lot of my gentlemen. Let's our cigar lovers. Here we have one of the best shops in town in the regard of cigars. They have a very large humidor with all kinds of different cigars. So if you want, you are in good hands here. Coming here to the end, look into the flag in the top of the tower. Remember the riot against the bishop that I told you? There you see 1525, 2025, that we are celebrating the 500 years of that uprising. If anyone needs an ATM machine through these automatic doors, here in the Sparkasse, you have an ATM machine. Come along here and I show you where you find it.
Yeah.
Of the different virtues. And this very ugly fish, it's actually a 1700s representation of a dolphin. Is that crazy? I also didn't believe myself. finish our tour. I already told you, supermarket, media shop, cigar shop. I already showed you the vegetable market. Now I can tell you some restaurants. If you want to have something easygoing, just to keep yourself running the day, this one here behind you, very amazing pizza, very amazing pasta, very nice salads and so, and the best ice cream in town, without doubt. So very good place if you want something more Italian, more like, you know, easygoing to keep running the rest of the day. If you want something a little bit more traditional, something more formal, to sit in the table and have a proper meal representing the history of Franconia, you need to go in the bridge, the one with the statue that I mentioned. And do you see the red building and then another building after, and then you have a kind of a yellow corner to the right before the statues. There you have the best restaurant to serve local food. When I say best, it's because they are really good. I tell myself all the time, average price with a drink, 30 euro, 30. So it's not very expensive, not the normal price for Germany. And they change their menu with the season, so usually every month they have something different, and usually represents what is typical for the time of the year in Franconia. And now you might wonder, how do I get to my ship? 6:15 back on board. Always reserve more time to get there than you think that you are taking, because it might be pictures, might be that you make a wrong turn, you don't know that it's just one turn to be made. And what is the turn? Do you see the people? Do you see the white car here behind the buildings? Do you see people walking in the other side of the street? Where the cars are now turning to the right. There, you also need to turn to your right. You need to find the river and then always follow the river side. So you just go there to your right and then keep walking. You will see the 3 large chimneys and your ship is behind the 3 large chimneys. Is that clear? So it's that easy. You just need to get here and then you just go down there, you cross the street to the other side, keep walking along the river and you will find your ship behind the 3 large chimneys. 6:15 all on board, so maybe try to be there at 6, just that you are safe. And then just to have a lot of fun, and anything that I can make that your life is easier, anything that I can serve you, remember that you are my noble guests, and this was a great pleasure to have you here. I hope that you enjoyed. I hope that you created good memories here with me today. It was a wonderful pleasure. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much, all of you. Thank you. It was a wonderful pleasure. Thank you so much.
Where do we get the wine?
The wine, just on top of the bridge, ma'am. That same restaurant, they sell the wine through a window on the side.
Oh, there you go.
That same exact restaurant, ma'am.
That's what I want. Yes.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you. Very appreciate it.